There was the president's seeming fixation, a fixation that is in full force at this hour, on a claim he made Sunday about Hurricane Dorian. That was when Trump on Twitter stated that Alabama would, quote, most likely be hit, much in parentheses, harder than anticipated. That prompted a clarification from the National Weather Service in Birmingham. But the story was far from over, with the president seemingly riled up by the news coverage of the matter. In the Oval Office on Tuesday, he unveiled a map of potential storm-affected areas that appeared to be doctored with a Sharpie to include Alabama. At the time, Trump said he didn't know about the edits to the map.
That map that you showed us today looked like it almost had like a Sharpie.
I don't know.
However, the Washington Post now reports that, according to a White House official who spoke on the condition of anonymity, quote, it was Trump who used a black Sharpie to mark up an official map, though NBC News has not matched that reporting. Throughout this week, Trump has posted 11 tweets and multiple maps in an attempt to justify his original claim, even enlisting a government official to defend him. The Washington Post notes that, quote, in effect, Trump was attempting to bend time, claiming that a projection that was several days out of date was accurate at the time he warned Alabama of a dire threat that didn't exist. And now this saga appears to be continuing as we speak. Late tonight, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration released an unattributed statement saying that the information provided to the president through Monday demonstrated that at least, quote, tropical storm force winds from Hurricane Dorian could impact Alabama. Joined now by Annie Carney, White House correspondent for the New York Times. Eugene Robinson is a columnist at the Washington Post, and Noah Rothman is associate editor at Commentary Magazine. Thank you all for being with us. Annie, let me start with you. We just ended that introduction on the NOAA statement that came out within the last hour or two. No name on it, unattributed. It seems an unusual statement this matter itself is unusual. Any sense where that statement came from, what prompted it?
I mean, we don't know yet whether NOAA decided to put this out on its own accord or whether there was some direction from the White House that they would like them to do this. But it matches what we saw yesterday, which is that the president had a rear admiral come out and put out a statement saying he had briefed the president and told him that Alabama was in the path of the storm. So it matches a path of Trump looking for official agencies or people of rank to back him up on this story going into day 6. And now this is Friday night. This is going to get covered. I assume this will only prolong this news cycle into the weekend, which is an odd move for the president, who has prolonged a non-story into 6, now potentially 7, 8 days.
Well, that's my other question for you. And I know, obviously, look, you cover the White House. You have a sense of what's going on there. It seemed that when news of Dorian started emerging, Dorian making its way towards the Atlantic coast late last week, there was a move in the White House to get Trump to cancel that trip overseas, to project this image of presidential leadership in a time of potential crisis. Now, as you say, at the end of this week, as the storm has continued all week, we're talking about a Sharpie. What is the sense of folks around Trump in the White House? Do they think he's achieving something here, or are they saying this is not something he should be doing in their view?
Well, he's turning this story into really a roundabout way to attack the media, which is kind of the overarching narrative of this White House. Now it's that the reports about his mistake are inaccurate. He's trying to get all these ways to show, no, I was right, and it's the media reporting on me that once again is wrong. We saw at the same time another big storyline of the week was the White House attacking the Washington Post for a story that the paper wrote about Trump's lost summer, a huge opportunity to make inroads with policy achievements and on his campaign that was sort of lost to trivial fights. We saw them pushing back aggressively on that. So this is turning into a classic Trump doubling down, tripling down, not able to admit a mistake, into another way to call it all fake news. So in that sense, it fits the overarching narrative that is always part of this White House.
We mentioned that statement that came out in the last couple of hours from NOAA. In that statement, NOAA also reprimanded the National Weather Service in Birmingham, which first corrected the president last Sunday, saying their tweet, quote, spoke in absolute terms that were inconsistent with probabilities from the best forecast products available at the time. Now, a prominent meteorologist in Birmingham is speaking out, saying, quote, the tweet from the Weather Service in Birmingham was spot on and accurate. If they are coming after them, they might as well come after me. How in the world has it come to this? Gene Robinson, as I say, this is the word I was going to use, I think I used is unusual. There's probably a bunch of other words. Well, does it, as unusual as it is, though, positive or negative, does this change the way anybody views Trump?
You know, I think it's quite negative. And the reason is that, look, this is not the first time we have seen President Trump obsessed over about his coverage that he felt was or wanted to maintain was excessively negative. It's not the first time we've seen him attack the media. It's not the first time we've seen him not able to let something go, but this is you know, everyone was paying attention to this hurricane, and everyone was paying attention to the path of this hurricane. This is a kind of simple a thing that it's very easy to sort of get your arms around, and so I think people have paid attention. And I wrote a column about this the other day. I got a much bigger than usual response from commenters, and I tweeted about it once. I think I got a million impressions on the tweet. So so people are paying attention, and I don't see how that's good for President Trump. And this statement tonight, throwing the Birmingham National Weather Service office under the presidential bus, is just extraordinary. It's absolutely extraordinary. There's just going to be an uproar, I think, inside that agency over that office doing what it was supposed to do. The president said people at Alabama were in danger, and they said, hold it, wait a minute, you're not, people of Alabama, you're not. That's what the National Weather Service is supposed to do. If not that, then what? Their job certainly isn't to, bolster whatever crazy thing the president says.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of people are going to be curious to see if there's some subsequent reporting on this statement tonight on what may have gone into that. We will see. While the president said he doesn't know about the Sharpie edits made to that map in the Oval Office, his campaign has embraced a black marker as a symbol in its push to re-elect him. The Trump campaign is now marketing a set of black markers that are for sale on his website. NOAA, Annie was talking about this. It is Trump versus the media. He does seem to see that as what this ultimately is, and to see some kind of advantage in that. Yeah, but anybody who's on board with that message is already on board. You're not getting new people from this blisteringly, mind-numbingly stupid week of controversy around this thing. The original tweet really wasn't all that wrong, right? He said other states, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, could be impacted more. Just ignoring the criticism around that would have made it go away, but he had to turn it into a week's worth of controversy. His defenders say, well, why don't you have to hit back? I mean, they're calling him a liar. What are you supposed to do, not hit back? And the answer to that is yes. You don't hit back because it lowers your stature and your failure to admit a mistake, and it was a mistake, a small one, but a mistake nonetheless. The failure to acknowledge that and then double down for an entire week makes you look incredibly small. The fact that they don't see that, his supporters and the president don't see that, is going to come as a very rude awakening, I think, because this is one of those stories that translates easily. Everybody gets the weather. You don't get why the Fed chairman refusing to lower rates on its face is terrible. It requires a lot of education. This is one that everybody buys into easy and, as Gene said, translates instantly across the political spectrum, and it could hurt.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.